Do you guys want to get into this beef?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm pretty pumped to talk about this. So there's this big comedy beef from this podcast. A few months ago, we had a comedian of note on the podcast, which was pretty exciting.
Which one? Nick Ford or
Nick Ford. Nick Ford was on the podcast.
Nicholas J. Ford.
We're talking about.
Wait, is there an update to it? Or
Yeah, there's an update.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Remain anonymous because I want to know.
They can.
Go look at the camera and shoot a wrestling promo on him.
Who do you think it was?
I don't know.
Really?
I mean, hold on, mouth it.
I've heard rumbles that the P Boiz got beef with somebody.
Yeah.
What's the update?
I heard this other podcast.
There was a comedian of note on the P Boiz a couple months ago, and we've been taking shots at him ever since. Because I mean, look, I don't have any problems with the guy. He's a nice guy. It was nice of him to be on the show. It was nice of him to come to our open mic, and you know.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
And anyone, like literally anyone, can figure out who it is. It was Paul Elia, but
He was on this cast.
yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was on this pod.
So he's a very nice guy, and he was like, whatever, chill guy. I found out recently, this was like a month or two ago, he did another podcast where he was talking about like he was talking about like our conversation from the podcast, and basically like calling me like an idiot and like retarded, which was kind of funny because you know, it's a
Because you are.
right, yeah,
Observational humor is what he's good at.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool that he's, you know, spreading the word. He didn't mention the P Boiz, which I was a little upset about. He just said like,
it's a little
I was talking
disappointing.
to this guy the other day.
All right, at least get some public.
I was like, yeah,
Right,
dude,
yeah.
fucking like, you know,
He can put you on. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember when he did your mic though. He kind of had like this like certain swag and confidence about him, and he's like, "Who watched my special?" And it got quiet as shit.
Yeah, I didn't know he was famous.
He goes,
until
"Did
after.
you guys watch it?" And somebody in the back was like, "No."
No, I literally thought it was a joke. I didn't know who
I
he
think
was.
famous is a stretch.
Yeah, famous is a stretch. He's friends with Matt Rife, and he's like popular in LA.
He's got a lot of followers.
He's got a lot of followers. He's like been on TV shows and shit.
Yeah, I never really talked to him,
he's
so like I'm not gonna really say anything
He's
about him.
established.
But
He's like
good
done
for
his
him.
shit. He's like
Yeah.
he's funny. Like I'll give him that. But like yeah, he has this like weird obsession with talking about like cultural identity, and that like that was the whole thing about the podcast.
was that like because he identifies as Assyrian?
Yeah, that was the whole
So-
thing. Was like he was like kind of lecturing me about like why I should consider myself Assyrian, and like it was just a weird energy on the podcast. And
Well, doesn't that mean like that you're just from Iran?
Iraq.
Oh, okay.
Well, Iran, Iraq. Assyrian is basically just like you're Catholic, but you're from that region.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah.
because I didn't understand it until I reached out to the Arab community. That
Yeah.
They kind of explained it
Yeah,
to me.
sure.
Like, there's no difference between like the way I see it is like him and I are Hungarian, but he's probably like French or some shit. But you guys are still in the same.
That's the worst.
Okay, but I went to high school with a bunch of Chaldeans, and not the entire time I never heard anybody say the word Assyrian.
Yeah, me either.
They all called themselves Chaldeans.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
So that was his whole thing, was that
Was it
I
kinda-
should be
I-
calling myself Assyrian and not Chaldean. And my thing was I don't really care because I live in America and I don't really hang out with Chaldeans, and it's not like, sure, it's like my culture and it's like part of my ethnicity and whatever, but I'm not gonna like, you know, I don't care enough about like why
I'm not gonna take a
Chaldeans
stand.
and Assyrians, like I don't give a shit.
I'm not going to storm the capital
I'm
or
not gonna
whatever.
storm the capital because I'm not going to storm Palestine.
Yeah, they'll
Get
say
him
that,
plugs.
right.
Yeah. But he went on this other podcast and was talking about how I don't know my identity, and that like his exact words was like, I was taken aback by the fact that he was interested in learning about the history of our culture. And I was like, I'm not taken aback by like you being interested in our culture. Like that's cool. Like, you know, but I don't know why he was so obsessed with the fact that I'm not interested in the history of our culture. And that I think he was conflating his identity to the point that his cultural identity to his entire identity. And I just think like if that's sort of like what you're basing your entire being off of, then like really your identity has just become like you're like just a representation of this culture. And I think it's actually like the opposite of finding your own identity. But that's my take. That's my.
I get it. Are you trying to say like if you're just like a hardcore Trump supporter and that's your whole identity kind of thing? But with him, it's more of like a
that's
regional where I came from type shit.
Because he said multiple times like this guy doesn't know his identity. He doesn't give a shit about his identity. And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty familiar with my identity. I don't really give a shit about the history of my cultural ethnicity, but I don't think that has anything to do with my identity.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're identifying in a group instead of an individual.
Right. Is that the update to the beef?
That's the update to the beef. I just thought it was funny that he went on another podcast to like talk about how bad of an interview I did.
Did you invite him back?
I didn't invite him back. Paul, if you're watching this, which he probably isn't, because he acts like he doesn't know me every time we run into each other. If you're watching this, you can come back on the P Boiz and we can have a strict debate.
Yeah, we'll clarify things.
Yeah, we'll clear things up.
You got a Jew to moderate this time.
Yeah. Right. Who can be more fair than a Jew?
Yeah, what would be a better than
historically speaking, the fairest phrase ever.
And you can bring Matt Rife and we can get like real views on the podcast.
Yeah, and we can ask Matt Rife if his crowd work special was real, which it was not.
Yeah. That's a hot take that people didn't like that you said on the podcast.
They didn't like it?
They didn't. Okay, we got a lot of
fucking watch it and tell me those people weren't planted. That's bull.
And I think Paul was a producer of his special, so he wouldn't like you to say that either.
All right. Well,
so we can debate that.
As the producer, you're probably the guy who recruited the people who were planted in the crowd work.
It don't matter anyway because we don't identify as Assyrian. So
you were one of the plants.
You guys don't recognize me? I was the one that went.
You do look like a ficus.
Yeah, there you go.
I was a plant. I was a plant once at a Diddy party.
Yeah, you were a plant.
How'd that go for you?
It was
Did
really.
He make you dress up as like a French maid?
It was the really white party.
Yeah, like it got real slippery situation, so I had to leave. I left early.
To get slippery over there.
Yeah, I'd go back though.
Yeah.
If you're listening, dude, hit me up.
Yeah. At the Assyrian parties, it's just regular oil.
Just regular oil.
Regular ass
And at
oil.
the Italians, it's olive oil.
So in America, in America, it's vegetable oil.